and welcome back to my YouTube channel and Crystal One-on-One. It's good to have you. Always excited about these conversations. Please do subscribe to our channel. And today I have the founder of Kentaro. Some people know her as the founder of the Good Hair Collective, but most people know the Kentaro range of hair products. Charlyn Kentaro joins me today.
Hi.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I see you so much in other circles.
Yeah.
She's like a little sister. Let me just say that. So it's nice to sit down with you to hear your story.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. I've seen this from forever, and I can't believe I'm finally here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. How is 2022?
It's good.
It's good.
It's so far, so good.
Is it rushing for you? Because some people say they feel like this year is...
It really is. It's insane. I don't know if it's because the last 2 years we were at home and the hours were ticking by very slowly. But this year has just been crazy. Like, I can't believe we're ending April.
I know.
It's insane.
I know. It does feel like that.
Yes.
It does feel like that. How are your little ones?
They're good. They're fine. They are busy bodies. They keep us very busy. 4 and 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Just turned 2.
4 and 2.
So they're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you are Ugandan?
Yes, I am.
Born and raised here?
Born and raised 100%
Okay.
Ugandan.
Born where?
Kampala. Yes, Naguru actually.
Oh,
so not far. I was born.
far.
Yeah, I was born inside the flat. We were saying Naguru flats. I was born inside the flat.
Oh, it was a home
Yes.
delivery.
It was a home delivery because I was born at the end of the war, the 1986 war. I have dated myself, but it's okay, it's fine. Now everyone knows my age, but it's okay. That's where the name Kentaro comes from. Because in Runyankore Ruchiga, it means of the war. So it's a name they give to someone who was born around that time.
So I'm guessing all of your siblings, do you have names that all have meaning as well?
Yes, actually. Yeah, we do. Yeah. My dad and his dad, they were storytellers. So we didn't get, like, actually he refused us to take his name aside from my first 2 sisters. He's like, no, I don't want to mess up in this life and then you have to carry my name. Although he did not mess up.
I'm sure he was joking.
He was wonderful. That's what he always said. It was a joke, I'm sure. But he's like, no, have your own name, make your own, story and reputation and everything. So Kentaro is my name alone, and then everyone else has their own names as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said your dad and your grandfather
Yes.
were both storytellers.
They like to tell stories and give, even for his grandkids, so for our children, he was always very intentional about, this is the name I'm going to give your child, kind of like the Nigerians do, of, this is the name I'm giving her, make sure she carries it. So it was very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have had lots of interesting stories.
He did. Yeah, he did.
And then he passed away.
He did, yeah.
But he was such a lovely man.
Thank you. He was, yeah.
He really was. You would know. I'm just an observer. Okay, so you said you're 2 older sisters. So how many are you?
No, I have 3 older sisters and then a brother. So we are 5 in total.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
Nice
ever feel the middle child
Yeah.
syndrome in there?
Absolutely.
Okay, educate us.
I feel like, okay, from my perspective, like my story, and then from what my friends tell me, the middle kids are you're kind of left to your own devices, I think by that point, and I'm speaking as a mom, I feel like by that point, you're kind of like, her siblings will look out for her. Or it's not like, with your first child, when they have like a cough or a flu, you're rushing to the clinic, you're rushing to, but then after some time from experience, you realize it's not that bad. So I'm very much the middle child. I was playing on my own all the time, or reading a book, or just like sorting myself out, basically, which is not a bad thing.
That made you very independent?
It did, yeah. I kind of feel like I've always taken a different course at least from my older siblings. I went to different schools than they did. I have a different crowd than they do. Like, it's just very, yeah.
So which schools?
Namagunga. So we all went to the same primary school, more or less. We all passed through Kampala parents at some point. But then my other two sisters went to Gayaza, and then I was like, no, I want to. And I feel like at that point it was more of, it had become like an identity thing. Like, no, I want to be different. I want to go to a different school. And so I went to Namagunga, and then a different university completely.
So you like had these conversations?
Yes, yeah.
Was there any resistance from your parents?
Not really. Not really. They were like, okay, if you want to, because that was when 2000. 2000. It was I don't know what it's like now, but it was the kind of school where you could safely like take your child and you're confident that they'll be fine. So when I said
There was
Namagunga, they were
but
like,
your
okay.
sisters went to. You also have to.
Not really. No. Yeah. They were very okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then university, I went my own way as well. So I went to Cape Town, and they were in a different country altogether. But it's been, I don't know, it kind of made me who I am, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay. So you studied law?
Yes, I did.
Is
Yeah,
that what you
I
always
did.
wanted to do growing up?
No, not at all.
No?
I,
Who was the lawyer in
it's
the
fun-
family?
My mom. My mom is a lawyer. Two older sisters of mine are lawyers, and then myself, at least by training. And then none of us really stuck with it except for one woman. We all just kind of like, this is not for me, let me do something else. But yeah, so it's funny that there was no resistance from, where you're going to study from, but what you're going to study, that was very
clear.
Yeah, these are your three options, pick.
Okay. So I imagine that, as someone who's a lawyer, trained lawyer, you're going into business and becoming an entrepreneur. That must have been a bit rocky then.
Very, very rocky. I had no clue what I was doing in the beginning, and it showed. It showed very much.
What showed?
Just kind of some of the decisions that I made.
Like what?
So, I had no training in like business or whatever, and I started doing the Kentaro products in 2014. 2014. And then it was only about a year later that I did about a 6-month business course.
Okay.
A really good one. It was very rigorous. We went through pretty much any aspect that you can think of. It was like a small MBA sort of. So before then, I was doing things like, when it came to the pricing, the products, I was like, what am I had made a butter at the time, a hair butter. So I was putting my own money into this. It was an expensive hobby, let me say that. Putting my own money into it, sourcing all the best ingredients that I could find, buying these little essential oils expensively. And then when it came to the pricing, I was like, this looks like it could be 25K. I didn't,
So you hadn't done the math?
No math, nothing like that. So things like that. It was really very telling that I had no clue what I was doing. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made, was the pricing.
Okay.
Yeah. The rest of it, I'm grateful for the legal background, because it taught me the skill of research and teaching yourself something. So when it came to other aspects of the business, I was very ready to get onto the internet, read up as much as I could, and figure out, okay, so this is how you do a marketing strategy, or this is what a business plan should look like. So yeah, at least that kicked in.
Side.
Yeah, that side I was not doing too badly.
Okay, so there you are, a lawyer. Were you working as a lawyer by then?
Yes, I was. So I did not. I wasn't practicing in terms of, when we tell most people I'm a lawyer, they think, oh, so you go to court and you defend clients, whatever. But I was doing legal research. Yeah.
Okay.
So at that time, I was doing my 9 to 5, and then I would come home, my parents' home at the time, and do my butters, essentially mix my oils and whip them up and whatever.
Could you not find like what you needed on the market? How did you start
Oh.
making your own?
No, I didn't. I couldn't find what I needed on the market. I had relaxed hair for a while, about 7 years.
Okay.
And then around 2012, I decided, let me try this natural hair thing. Because all of a sudden, it was, you were just seeing more and more women.
It was picking up.
Exactly, especially in the US. So I thought, let me see what my natural hair can do. Up until that point, I had always had very, very short hair. Like, that was a requirement at school.
Okay.
And
yeah.
as soon as it was long enough, I had relaxed it. So I put chemical, and so I had no idea what my long natural hair looked like, what
Oh.
it could do, nothing. I had no clue. So when I had just started out, I was reading a lot about what products you should put in, what you should avoid, because people were starting to talk about those sort of things in the US and the UK, right?
Okay.
And
Did you have a moment where you felt like maybe your hair was getting thin?
yes, yeah.
Like you felt it was damaging your hair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When I first started out using relaxers, it was thick, it was dark, it was long. 7 years later, it was a hot mess. It was just like browning and very thin ends. It did not look like my hair at all. Yeah, so that's the point when I decided to cut it. And then, so I started to look for what I could use with my natural hair. So at the time, I had two options. Either I bring products in from the US, the ones that I'm seeing on YouTube, the Shea Moisture and what.
Ooh,
but there were
the price
so
tags on those.
they still are really expensive. And so it was either that or the stuff that I could find locally on the market did not have the ingredients I was looking for.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. And so I started playing around with things like shea butter. At that point, I did not know that shea butter was a native thing for us in Uganda. I had never seen a shea tree. I did not know. I thought that it was just a Nigerian and Ghanaian thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So where were you getting this shea butter then?
So I started reading. I started reading about shea butter, and then they were like, this is the shea butter belt in Africa, and it stretches all the way to Uganda and Sudan, South Sudan. And I was like, what? And then I'm reading some more, and they're like, actually, the Ugandan shea butter is superior for cosmetic use. I'm like, no ways. So I go to, there was a small shop in Garden City that was selling shea butter from Gulu. I think it was processed in Gulu. And I buy it, and it smelled unique. It has a very strong nutty smell. And so I was like, there's no way I'm putting this in my hair. And also it was leaving like little white bits in my hair.
Like little particles. It
Yes,
wasn't really
yeah.
refined.
And I was like, this is not what I want. So how can I make it better? So I bought the essential oils. I think I bought lavender and peppermint and just started to mix that up, and then like basically melt it down and whip it again so that it became fluffy and just easier to use. And it was, I don't even know, it was like a miracle product for me, honestly. I put it in my hair and it was immediately softer. My twists were looking right, like they were just not, what's the word for it, frizzy anymore. Like my hair just looked and felt better.
Okay.
And so my friends started noticing. They were like, what are you using in your hair? And I'm like, I make my own shea butter. And so so I start giving these things out for free.
I was about to ask if you were like,
Yeah.
oh, you're my friend, you're my family.
Yes, I know. I was very happy to, because I hadn't thought about it as a business at that time, until a cousin mentioned to me, she's like, why are you giving these things out for free? This is a really good product. You could sell it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I talked to my now husband, then boyfriend, because he'd been doing business for about 3-4 years at that time. And I was like, what do you think about this? And he's like, go for it. That's the point when I'm like, okay, this kaja looks like it's, 25K. Let me, let me just slap a label on it and start. I started selling mostly through Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay,
That's-
so the name The Good Hair Collective came before Kentaro.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about. Because okay, so when I started my natural hair journey, I myself had a lot of mindset changing to do, right? I had to really think about how do I see myself as an African woman with natural hair? Like, what are my own perceptions towards natural hair? And I realized that they were quite negative at the start, right? I had thoughts like, okay, so when I had just cut my hair, first of all, some of the reactions were things like, you look like a maid, right? Some of my family like, you look like a maid, and which is not a bad thing.
Did you cut it like
But they-
all off and go really short?
I'm not very short. I grew it out for about 6 months and then cut that. So it was like a smallish afro. And they're like, "What are you doing? Did you cut all your hair off?" Because my hair was struggling, but it was still longish. They're like, "What? Are you going through something?" You're like, "What? Do you need help?" and it really got me thinking about. Like I said, our perception as Africans towards
And what we say about our hair.
what our hair,
It's
our
too
skin
thick,
tone,
it's difficult,
exactly.
it's-
Yeah, and so a lot of people were saying to me things like, "But for you can cut your hair because you have good hair. Me, I could never." And I'm thinking, but if it grows out of your scalp, like God gave you this hair, it's good hair, and so that's where the Good Hair Collective came from. That was my intention behind the name. But then a few years down the road, when I had gotten shareholders on board, we were talking about the name and they were like, it's a bit of a mouthful and it's not very African. Why is it in English? Maybe you want to pick something that is more reflective of where we are. And so we played around with a few things and they were like, why don't you just call it Kentaro? That's your name. And I struggled with that at the beginning. I was like, what? No, what if this whole thing, tanks?
Doesn't-
What if,
oh my gosh.
what if it's a huge flop? But then eventually I was like, let me just do this. It is my baby. I'm very passionate about it. Let's go with Kentaro.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the meeting with your family, I want to start a business.
Yeah.
How did that go?
That was
Especially since, like you said, the plan was law.
Yes. I don't even know if we had one particular meeting as such. I was, for a while, about half a year, I was juggling the two. So like I said, I would do my work throughout the day, and then in the evening, I would either be mixing in the kitchen or I would be doing my deliveries on a border. Whatever it took, I would do it after 5
So
p.m.
they could see that you were.
So they could
doing
see that
your
I had a
thing.
little hobby that was kind of slowly taking over my evenings and my weekends, but they didn't say much. And then my work with the company, the NGO came to an end because it was a 2-year contract. So that came to an end, and then they were like, okay, so what next? Let's start the job hunt again. And I was like, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe let me try and see where this thing would go. I feel like my parents, like it went in one ear and out the other for them. They were like, no. So for like a year almost, my mom was still sending me like job adverts. She was still hooking me up with her friends who were either like in the legal world or what. She was just like, you can't do this on its own.
Yeah.
It's fine if you want to do it
It's
as a
fine
side
if it's like a
hustle.
hobby, yeah?
Yes, but not on its own. So I don't know if we had a series of little conversations where they were like, but are you serious? Like, are you really going to do this? And I was like, let's just see where it goes. So so a year passed, and then 2, and then 3, and the business was growing, thankfully. Thankfully, people liked the products and kept on coming back for more and referring their friends and families. So I guess after a while, they were just like, you know what, let's just keep quiet and let her do her thing.
And see what happens.
Yes, yeah.
But you said even growing up, you were pretty independent. You kind of made decisions. So maybe
Yeah.
that, your
Maybe
own
that helped.
decisions, maybe that helped a
Maybe
bit.
that helped. I think
But the
so.
decision to leave your, well, okay, I'll say to leave your job, but you said your contract ended, so
Yes.
that kind of helped.
Yeah.
So what about like the labeling, the packaging?
I was in the beginning. I was doing all that myself. Yeah. I like creating things. I like playing around with graphics and things like that. So I found, and also I didn't have much money to throw around hiring a graphic designer, and I don't know what. I was really trying to be as lean as I could be.
Okay. So you didn't throw all your savings in?
No, not at all. Not all at once, anyway. So I got the packaging locally, and then I found an app, I guess, say, yeah, an app that helps you design labels and things like that. Designed that, took it to NASA Road, made it, had them done as stickers, and then I was doing everything solo, a very, very one-man show.
Okay.
So mixing.
Very much your baby.
Yes, yeah, mixing, packing, sealing, and then sticking on the labels. There was this one night, I think I had an event coming up, because in the beginning I did a lot of trade fairs and events and expos. I think I had one of those, and I was still, on my own. And so I stayed up very late into the night doing this. And I remember my dad coming home, and he found me at the dining table, and it's just a mess, like labels everywhere, jars everywhere. And he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to bed." He wasn't a man he would kind of like to observe where things were going before he would chip in. So he's like, okay, don't take too long, and he went to bed. But thinking about it now, I can only imagine what I must have looked like to him. He was like, this girl I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it served me well. Just trying to getting a sense of what it takes to run a business in the beginning, because
and understanding every aspect of the
exactly,
business.
yeah. So now even when I have brought other people on board, I'm able to judge for myself whether they're doing a good job or not, or whether they're a good fit, because I know what it takes. Yeah.
Okay. For many other products, sometimes the sourcing is an issue.
Yeah.
But you said at least we have shea butter, which is one of the main ingredients, I guess. What about the essential oils? Because a lot of people say the essential oils are very expensive and difficult to get a hold of.
Yes, they are. I mean, I've been doing this this is the 7th year now. So a few things have changed. But in the beginning, yes, sourcing essential oils was a much bigger headache than it is now. You were either looking to South Africa or the UK or the US if you wanted the good quality ones anyway.
Okay.
So that thankfully, they're expensive, but a little goes a long way. And for me, I've been very intentional from the beginning about who we are as a brand and as a company. So our whole ethos is to make good products that work effectively, and you cannot do that if you're going to skimp on the active ingredients. And one of those is essential oils. So we buy in bulk now.
Okay.
But it's not something that I ever thought twice about.
Okay.
Like, I need quality essential oils and I'm not going to look anywhere else. Since then, there are people who have started making some essential oils locally. So like lemongrass, we get locally. Peppermint, we get locally, but from like a reputable source. Yeah, it's not as bad now as
it was when you started.
Yes.
Okay. Or as expensive.
Yes.
Okay. So I imagine, like, when you really decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do, you have to, put in quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
How was that for you? That's what I was asking. Did you throw your savings in there?
Yeah.
Did you have anyone who invested in you?
I started with just my savings, but also because the thing started as kind of like let's just see where this goes. I did not rush out and buy 2,000 jars or all the shea butter in northern Uganda. I was buying in bits, and till now I have no idea how much I spent because I was not keeping records, because I did not have that background. But it didn't. I really wasn't trying to break the bank.
Okay.
I would get my orders for the week, and then I would produce, accordingly. So if I had 10 orders for the week, or if I had an event coming up, I would purchase accordingly, right? So, of course, it was a little bit expensive because I was not working at scale, but it helped because I still had enough money to, experiment with, new products or.
So you
whatever
were
it might
making
be.
some money.
I was making some money, yes. I was. As much as I had just kind of plucked the price out of the air, it was it was enough for me to
cover.
keep on buying new ingredients. Everything that I made, I would put back in the business also. So for the start, it was just me, and then my now husband put in. Oh gosh, it was given in bits, so now I can't remember exactly how much it was, but he put in some money as well. And then my siblings as well put in like a little bit of money, and yeah, that's really it. It wasn't, I didn't take like a huge loan, or we've never won a grant or anything like that. So it
Wow.
was,
Oh my goodness, to see where the business is now, that's amazing.
it is.
That really
it
is.
Yeah.
So now you're in your kitchen, you're on
Yes,
products, you're
yeah.
cooking, you're God knows what. Did you have a
Yes.
life as well? When you look back then.
When I look back, I did.
Did you still have a social life and everything?
I did. I did. Yeah, I don't know how I managed it, but I tried to have a bit of a social life. I think my my circle also became very much like now the natural hair. Like now I had like the natural hair buddies and the business buddies. So it was like we would get together, and somehow the conversation would always turn to, wow, what are you doing for your hair? And so it kind of, I don't know, it was like two birds with one stone, I guess. Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, oh my God, this is not working? Did you ever have
yes.
like a big hiccup and you're like, I don't know about
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I think because I started in the kitchen, like I said, we didn't have these huge expenses at the beginning. So things like, one day I'm going to have to move out of my parents' kitchen. Have I priced accordingly? I'm going to need a bigger team than just little me. Where is this money going to come from? So I did not think about those things, and it didn't really blow up in my face until about 3 years into the business.
Okay.
So this is 2018. We have since grown into like beyond just the butters. I had started doing shampoos, deep conditioners, and now we're in supermarkets, right? Which meant negotiating wholesale prices, negotiating the margins that you're going to give out. And I had gone about that the wrong way.
Okay.
Right? So we are making sales and the things are flying off the shelves, but then the margins we're giving out are too huge, right? So there was no money in the bank. Literally, there was a point when we were like on, I think, 100K in the bank. And I was like, what is going on?
And you're in supermarkets?
Yes. We were in supermarkets, and we also had our own shop in Kisementi. So I was paying salaries there, and I was paying rent. We had a workshop where I was paying rent as well, and all the other utilities that go with it. And I couldn't understand where my money was going. I was like, this is insane. It was crazy. We actually sort of did like a mini shutdown of, our operations. Yes. And just took stock of what are we doing, What are we doing? That was such an eye-opener for me. I was like, this is not a joke anymore. Like, this is not me because at the beginning, I didn't care if I took a salary that month or not. I was so passionate about it.
Yes.
But then I had since brought on people. These people have families. Some of them are single moms. I was low-key ashamed of myself. I was like, how have I got to this point and not thought about our pricing structure or our business plan to the point where we don't have any money in the bank and yet people are taking the products. Remember, it's generally like a credit arrangement, right? And even when they would pay, because we would generally give them about a month of a credit period, even when they would pay, by the time the money came, you have so many expenses to pay off that there's pretty much nothing left.
Nothing left.
Yeah.
Right.
So we reached out to our supermarket partners and were like, you know what, we are taking some time to rethink our pricing. We sent out letters and everything. We stopped taking orders and we sat down and finally worked things out from the end going, you know, how much are the ingredients? I mean, there's some ingredients that were still priced the price of 3 years prior, and things have since changed.
Prices
and
have gone up.
Exactly. So that was a huge eye-opening moment for me. It really was. But they took it well. I think because we had grown such a wonderful community of like clients that our retail partners could see, okay, these are good products. They are well liked. People keep coming back for them. A lot of them were patient enough to say, okay, fine, come back to us
and let us know.
Yes,
when you're in a position.
Exactly. And we had to, of course, we came back to them with a price that was different from before. Margins that were slightly smaller. There was definitely some resistance. Some of them actually said we can't take the products at this price. So we lost a few.
Okay.
But which was also really crushing because we had worked so hard to get in there.
Yeah.
But we moved, as they say. We had to just keep on going, looking for new partners in the same locations, and it was very, very telling for me. So now I really try to keep an eye on the numbers as much as I can. Yeah.
Okay, because that can make or break you, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you were talking about getting your product eventually out, you know, you had your own shop and supermarkets, but there was a time I felt like you really took the push to social media and used the platforms on social media as well to get your product out there. Was that intentional? Was it kind of like, you know, let's just get a Facebook page? Let's just...
At the start, it was a tactical decision because there was a group on Facebook for natural hair, women with natural hair in Uganda. And so I guess I didn't even think much about it. I was like, there are people here with natural hair. It's free to advertise. Let me take, you know, pictures of my products and then put them on there. Can't figure this Instagram thing. It's like how people are suffering with TikTok now. I was like, Instagram? What?
What is that?
And she's like, let me start it for you. Let me do a couple of posts for you, and then you take over it once it takes. She was so kind, honestly. I don't know what I would do without her. So, so that's how we got started on Instagram. But then the more that I shared to there, the more I liked it. Like I was like, okay, you know, this social media thing is not bad, because people then were. I really care about hair beyond just the products. I like to advise people up to today. Like I want to know what your hair story is before I even say this is the product that you need.
Okay.
So social media gave me the chance to do that, to speak with, because we didn't have a shop at the beginning, right? So I wasn't able to interact with people like
so
physically.
So you were kind of having like
beginning.
one-on-one consultations,
yes,
but
online. Yeah, so people would say, this is what's not working for me. I have dandruff, or my hair has been breaking, I've been breastfeeding, my hairline has never recovered. And then we would go through that and say, okay, this is what I can do for you. Yeah. Okay. And so I haven't really looked back.
It's interesting,
since,
but sounds like you had a great support system.
Yes.
But considering that you share a lot, she does a lot of videos, and you got into it eventually.
Yes. I did. I did. And it really served us, because when we had to go into a lockdown because of COVID, I wasn't stuck, you know. I wasn't stuck. I knew where my customers knew where we were. They were like, and they were in a very tricky position as well, because you have a lot of women. Our customer base is largely women or mothers who are taking care of their children with natural hair. So a lot of people, when salons were closed and we were all stuck at home, did not know where to begin, right? Like they were confronted with their natural hair and they were like, what do I do with this hair? And I was like, no, do not panic. It's just hair. You can do it yourself. And so we used that platform to put out do-it-yourself videos, just educate people a lot more on children's hair care or how to take care of your scalp, because there's so much misinformation out there as well, and we haven't really grown up. A lot of us, anyway, we haven't grown up taking care of our natural hair, right? So many people, even me myself, like 8 years ago, I didn't know what to do with my hair.
It's been learning and experimenting along the way.
Yes, so I'm glad that Instagram and Facebook gave us that chance to teach people about their hair when they were stuck, and a lot of them haven't looked back since. They were like, oh, I used to go to the salon every week, but now I go once a month, just to have the feeling of someone washing my hair for me. But generally now I know I can do it myself. So yeah.
Okay. One of the things you said recently as a woman in business is that you're constantly underestimated, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because you go in into a boardroom or for meetings and they see you and they're like,
this pint-sized. They're like, okay, we're waiting for your boss to come in.
And you're like, I'm the one.
Yes.
How have you handled that?
It's interesting because I've never taken offense at it really. I don't know. I use it as sort of like an ammunition, I would say. If people are shocked to see me as a woman, leading this company, then that means that I get the upper hand because I can then shock you and surprise you with how much I know or my experience, in whether it's negotiating a contract, whatever it might be. And when they get to learn that this is not someone who you can push around so much, we get to then a point of mutual respect, and and I enjoy it, and I don't know how I can put it. It's interesting to me because people will not think that you are as good as you are, right? Which then gives you the opportunity to impress, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as opposed to when I don't know what it's like to be a man, but I can imagine if I was a man and I walked in, they are already expecting you to be that good. So then you have to even step it up, even, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so you are very passionate about hair, and I like what you said at the beginning about the words that we use and the perception that we have. Because I remember clearly even one of my sisters, her hair is so hard, it's so difficult, it's unmanageable.
Yes.
Those are the words, and as soon as you get a bit of money, just relax it.
Yes.
That was the solution.
Yes.
And now we know that we can manage our natural hair. But then also, there are things that you do and things that you don't.
Yes.
So what would you say, just as our tip here?
Yeah.
What are the no-nos with natural hair?
The no-nos, I think the biggest one for me would be blow drying. Yes.
And yet every salon,
yes, it's like forever. That's the. So I think because there's like a gap that we missed with learning these things. There's knowledge that maybe grandmothers had about how to take care of their natural hair.
But I remember our hair being hot combed when we were young.
No, grandmothers.
Okay.
And then I feel like our mothers grew up at the time when relaxed hair was
Straight
being
hair
pushed.
was.
Yes, as the standard of beauty and the standard of professionalism. And so we can't blame them because that's what was put in front of them.
That's what they knew.
Exactly. And so there's that gap where that knowledge that should have been passed down to us is kind of missing. So you get I get a lot of clients who have grown up with relaxed hair, and so when they have their natural hair, they want to treat it the same way they did with relaxed hair. They want it to be straight, they want it to be shiny. Basically, no, they don't want any headaches, right? which relaxed hair gives the opportunity, but it's also not the healthy option.
Yeah.
It's not the healthy option. So that's the default that they keep going back to. And I say, listen, no, there's other ways to stretch your hair without using heat all the time. You don't have to use heat every week, every 2 weeks. You can stretch your hair with just things like a twist, doing twists before bed. You'll wake up and your hair is stretched, right?
Okay.
Or something that used to be very popular and kind of still is in West Africa, but here not so much, using thread. So there's this thing called African threading where you get just your normal woozy and you just stretch your hair and then tie it around a section of hair and leave it for overnight or a day or two. By the time you take off the thread, your hair is stretched. You can actually, if you do it right, it can look like it's been blow dried.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so those are the kind of things I'm talking about that I feel like missed us, that we're only now starting to rediscover. And so that's the first no-no for me, is definitely stay away from heat. The other thing would be staying away from combing as well.
Oh.
We're very used to combing through our straight, relaxed hair, right?
Someone saying you're supposed to just use your finger.
You can just use your fingers. I can't remember the last time I used like an actual comb. I'll use a brush to
I
like
just remember
brush my
the pain
edges.
and the tears growing
Yes.
up with that.
Yeah. And yet I feel like our hair was not meant to be combed on a daily basis. But because that's what people think needs to be done, that's what they do, right? That's what they do for their children, and it's so painful for that child. So blow drying, using combs, and then just washing it as often as you can is also a good idea.
Okay.
Because our hair loves water.
Yeah.
Right? Water is what gives it that elasticity for it to be able to stretch without breaking. And so again, with relaxed hair, you tend to stay away from water because
Yes.
you don't want to, you don't want to look like, I don't know, like a wet cat, essentially. Yes. So when people go natural, they keep that mindset of, I can only wash my hair once a month, or I have to wait until I get to the salon. But it gives you so much freedom. Like you can get under the shower once a week, wash your own hair, deep condition it. Just give it as much water as you can, essentially. Yeah.
All right. So now the business has grown, the team has grown. When you look back, I mean, you mentioned one of the major mistakes you made was the pricing in the beginning. When you look back, do you see anything that you would have done differently?
What would I have done differently? I think I really like our journey. Sometimes I feel like it's been a bit slow. Like, yes.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like we could be much further than we are now. But I get that I had to pause, of course, to have the children, take care of, get them through their baby phase, at the real baby phase. What would I have done differently?
Do you have someone that you can rely on, that you taught everything to take on the reins while you were taking care of your baby?
Yes, actually. I have an amazing, it's a small team, but they are amazing. I have someone in charge of production who is really good at what he does. The sales team, really good at what they do as well. And so even when I was on maternity leave, and I say that with quotes because I was still on my phone almost every day.
Yes.
It's very hard to divorce myself from the business, like entirely. I think I would have, I don't know. I'm second guessing all the answers in my head because we got into the retail space at the right time. I really don't see what I could have done any differently. Like all the lessons that I've learned, all the mistakes that we've made, all the, the hiccups we've had have taught me, and God knows I needed the teaching because I had zero knowledge of what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I really don't think there's anything I could have done differently. Some people say, why haven't you looked for,
What, an international market?
No. Why haven't you looked for funding at this, up until now? It's been 7 years. You've never, gone the route of, looking for the venture capitalists and all that. But I really, even that was very intentional for me because I wanted to get to that space when I know what I'm doing, I know how much the company is worth, and I know what I need. I don't want to take huge amounts of money, whether it's from a bank or it's from a VC, and I misuse it. I really don't. I don't have. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I don't have any regrets. Yeah, let me put it that way.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So, Charlyn, away from Kentaro, who are you?
Oh,
Who are you when you're not talking about hair
oh wow.
or whipping up products?
Gosh. That's a tricky one because the answer is very boring. Like, if I'm not working, I am mothering. That's pretty much, that's my life right now, really. Yeah. Before the kids, I tried to balance like a social life, but gosh, now it's either work or home. I've always been like a home.
No hobbies in there?
My hobbies are also home centered, so I'm a homebody. So I love reading. I really do. I love reading. I like a good book. I like a good funny series. And I'm also very family oriented. So I will meet up with my family for like a long lunch and things like that. I'll spend time with my mom. But outside of that, I'm sorry to bore you, but I don't know. I would have loved to say
business.
Family, business. I would have loved to say, oh, I love to go quad biking every once in a while, but nope. I used to love traveling and would definitely love to do that again, like just pick that up again.
Well,
this
the
year,
children
honestly,
are still young, so that always plays
That's
in.
always tricky, but yeah.
You expanded the range of products that Kentaro has. How many different kinds do you have?
So right now we have 13 products. Yeah.
Okay.
We have, so they come in sets, essentially. So one set will give you everything, the basics that you need to start with. So your shampoo, your conditioner, a moisturizer, and an oil or butter, right? We try to target the main issues, right, that our customers have. So we have a set that is the anti-breakage one, which is basically, that's where these two are from. It's a set with 4 products, but I just brought these two. This is the deep conditioner that has hibiscus in it. This is one of our favorites. Is the growth oil, because everyone seems to be obsessed with long hair.
We want our hair to grow.
So this is our growth oil. And then, so that anti-breakage set will basically target people who are struggling with breakage, whether it's from over blow drying it or it's like postpartum breakage or whatever it might be. So that's the set. And then we have a set for your typical kaweke. So hair that's very thick, coarse. Yeah. We have our super softening set.
Okay.
So again, that's a 4-step process. And this is the deep conditioner from it. It has avocado and cow ghee, which is miraculous.
And that is one of your best sellers, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, they really like it. So what we did with this is people like to get cow ghee and then a mashed avocado and try and do it on their own. But it's not very effective because it won't really get into your hair and soften it for long. But because this is actually a real formulated conditioner with cow ghee and avocado oil, you get the benefits of a real conditioning, product, as well as what the cow ghee does and what the avocado does, right? And I guess that's why people like it so much.
Yes.
And then this is for the men. This is one of our more recent
Yeah, that's a newer
additions.
product.
This is new, yeah. So this is the beard and hair oil. Just for people who are, men seem to be obsessed with their facial hair.
Did you just say obsessed?
They are, honestly, like, we haven't had this for long, but nearly all the inquiries we get from men are, what do you have for my beard? I'm struggling to grow a beard, my beard is patchy. So we're like, okay, fine, here you go, beard oil.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think for women, we went into the natural hair earlier, but definitely the whole beard and the grooming is
Yes.
big for men right now.
Is,
So good
it
on you
is.
for tapping right into that.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's been a very interesting journey.
Yes, it
Lots of
has.
ups and downs, but you're still growing, still learning.
We're still growing.
Clearly.
Yeah, we're still growing. I'm
Any
really-
big plans?
Yes, I would really like for this year to be, it's our 7th year, like I said. And so I really want to, I want to be, the brand to be the go-to brand for natural hair care. We do have a couple of competitors, which is great, which is healthy. And I just want to make a lot of noise this year, really, a lot of noise, and just be in people's faces and just do as many collaborations as I can, and just have the product as accessible as it can be also. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, well, I'm sure we'll see a lot of that. If you
I
want to
hope
make
so.
noise, we'll be seeing Kentaro everywhere.
I hope so.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me and for sharing your journey and your learning curves. It's always amazing to hear when you open up.
Yes, thank you for having me.
My pleasure,
Yeah.
truly my pleasure.
Yeah.
And kisses to the baby.
Thank you.
Don't forget, mommy needs time too.
Yes, to do other things, Wanange. I can't believe I have no real hobbies. Aside from reading a book, no, I need to change that.
You'll get to it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Crystal.